Next on the agenda, public presentation comment period. Ms. Mouse, has anyone signed up?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who would care to speak at this time? Second call, anyone care to speak? Third and final call, public presentations are closed. Next report, Virginia Department of Transportation, Mr. Carter.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, board members. On our report this month, the very first statement that says we've completed all bridge and street sweeping and cleanup from the winter events. I just found out this morning that we missed one, so we have to go back and get that. We did complete little pickups on all primaries with used contractors. And we will begin our mowing operations on primaries on the 13th of this month. We completed grading and stone applications on all line hard surface routes, and then as things arise, we will continue this month. We'll be applying dust control, not duct control, as needed this month. We'll be doing skin patching on Route 624, and we plan to do Route 626, 660, 619, and 615 this month. We conducted ditching operations along 643, 660, 624, and 649, and we opened pipes and performed pothole patching on various routes in the county. And we'll continue that this month, but we're going to be concentrating primarily on the skin patching and the pavement patching to get ahead of our surface treatment crews. Other areas of rural rustic, they're continuing with Rocky Lane. We began pipe replacements on Ashby Station Road, Morgan Ford Road, Bridge, the south approach. There's no change in that. We're still awaiting the final design on how that's going to be handled. The ditch repair and clean out on 619, 677 Captain Mountain Road. As soon as we get the environmental clearance, we'll be in there to complete that. Are there any other issues or board action to address?
Does anyone have anything for Mr. Carter? If not, Mr. Carter, just for the public's information, dead animal removal, what phone number should they call?
They can call us CSC, Virginia Roads, and they'll speak to it.
All right, thank you very much. Next report, Virginia Cooperative Extension, Stacy Swain.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. So for the ag community, our ag agents have just been going through planning for the upcoming growing season. They did some commercial and private pesticide certification workshops to get those people recertified for the upcoming year. They've been helping with the fruit growers, getting things ready for the growing season. Doing some damage assessment, obviously, with the wind and rain and all the snow that we had over the growing season. As far as family and consumer sciences, Karen has been working with her reality store programs in the high schools in partnership with the 4-H throughout our planning district. She's had a couple of sessions on being a successful renter, and those were in Frederick County. She's doing her master volunteer training sessions to train volunteers to come in and help with the programs that she's offering. And then she's had a few displays and just little setups for the community to come in and get handouts or ask for questions. As far as 4-H, over the last couple of months, we've been preparing for our summer camp. We brought in applications for our teams, had interviews for those, and started the planning process and trainings to get them prepared for the camp in July. We hosted our annual Skyline Stockman's contest in February. We had 157 4-H'ers and FFA members from across the state We actually had some that came from out of state as well. At that, we also were able to offer a YQCA training, which is a training that's required across the state for those who wish to show at the state fair for livestock, and then it's also required within our planning district for any youth who wants to show livestock at the county fair. And that program just talks about raising a profitable animal and a product that the consumers are going to want to purchase. We held our 4-H county contest here in Warren County. We had about 35 participants from youth ages, our 5-year-olds all the way up through our senior members. They did everything from county, talking about speeches about their projects. We had some that talked about what 4-H has meant to them. We had a poster contest, a photography contest. We had a fashion show. We had a few people play some instruments. So we had a little variety of everything. It was a fun night. I continue with my in-school programs. The Read for Health program, where I go into a couple of the elementary schools. We read a book about healthy eating, and then the kids get to taste fresh fruits and vegetables with that. So we'll be wrapping that up this month. Since school ends the early of June, we don't do that one, but we've seen progress through the students. The ones who at the beginning of the year really didn't want to taste anything, but are now at least trying it. They may not like it, but they're at least taking a bite and not wanting to cry instead. And I actually had a parent who stopped me a couple weeks ago and was telling me about her daughter at home will actually taste things now because of going through that program. So that was really nice to have that feedback. We also hosted a district leadership day that was offered throughout the state, but mainly we just had district participation for that, and we got to participate in team building activities, go to parliamentary procedure, talk about officers and the club. So it was a really fun day. I had the privilege of working with the Master Gardener class to talk with the new training class about working with youth for programming that they will be doing. And then, of course, we have just gearing up for our annual Warren County Fair, but also livestock shows that have been going on throughout the county and that will be coming up in our district. And then we started planning and hosted our spring event, our egg hunt for the community. The weather ended up turning out really nice, and we had about 100 youth from the community that came out and found our Easter eggs and played games and got to get the picture taken with the Easter bunny. So it was a fun event that we were able to offer to the community. So we're all busy and preparing for the summer for camps and day camps. I will take any questions if you have any.
Anyone have any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next is the report of our board members. Mr. Fox.
Mr. Chairman, I have some concerns and questions about our oversight of the EDA for Dover Dam. What is the county's exposure and liability for this over $17 million in the EDA's lawsuit in the event that not all the funds are recovered? And are there any existing or future EDA projects on hold or at risk? If any future projects fell through, any idea of what the revenue impact could be to the county? And what steps are being taken to ensure that this never happens again? And hopefully we could move forward with the appointment of the EDA members at the next meeting. Could we get any response for these questions at this time?
Let me at least take the next to the last one as far as what can we do to try to ensure that this won't happen again. I think, as you know, we've been discussing the concept of the county acting as the EDA's fiscal agent. That's item 9 on the agenda, and that would put additional review and processes in place at the county with the finance department. And ultimately, as you know, every month the board gets a list of accounts to approve. So the board would see by department what payments were going out for the EDA. So I certainly think that's a big step in that direction, and I'll defer to the county attorney on this question.
Yes, I can speak. Our new EDA director starts today, and I can talk with him about the remaining questions, and we can do a letter to the board discussing proper response.
I appreciate the response. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Adding to what Mr. Fox just mentioned, it's my understanding that we can do just more than having the EDA come through us through their financials. The concern that I have is before this all came to light, people would ask me what's wrong with this issue, about that project, and I'd have to say, I don't know. It was embarrassing, but I didn't know. And I don't think anybody else on this board knows. And that's got to stop. And I asked Mr. Whitten to check into, because I heard from citizens that it was done in different ways in other jurisdictions in the Commonwealth of Virginia. One of which I heard Prince William and Frederick County did it differently than how we're doing here in Warren County. And Ms. Whitten asked his assistant to do a memo, and apparently that we can have the employee of the EDA, who's executive director, can be our employee, be a board of supervisors employee. Then we have more control and authority over that employee. And if we bring that employee into a closed session, a supervisor asks a question, I expect to have a straight answer. Instead of having little one-sentence things telling me everything's okay and this is great, everything's going great. Another thing we can do is we can also have the employee that's, say, the secretary that's under the executive director. That could be an employee of Warren County. I think that would be an appropriate safeguard. The citizens could have at least, they elect us to be on the board of supervisors, and that's something that we can hold somebody accountable, whereas before we weren't really able to. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. And anything else that we could do under the law. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Before I start, I'd like the public to understand that tonight we're doing our tax hearing. The EDA and the cost of the EDA has nothing to do with the taxes. What we are doing with the taxes is to run the business of the county as a business. And we need to understand that. We have to differentiate the two. I attended the night of prayer and led a prayer and made some statements. I also attended a Seder dinner, which was very interesting. If you've never done, you should do. And there's been a lot of discourse in this community. And we need peace in this community. We need unity in this community. We need people to understand truth, what is and what is not. And we have to stop the verbal games and assaults on members of the board, members of the county. What's being done is not fair. If you don't understand, ask a question. We're more than willing to tell you. We had no control over the internals of the EDA up until January when we could finally remove someone. We could not remove till they changed their bylaws. There are three entities. The county is one. The town is a separate entity. And the EDA is a separate entity. The EDA is appointed through the state. We have to understand this. Thank you. Ms. Gladys.
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Carter.
Ditto.
Mr. Stanley.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, as of April 22nd, the county closed on the bonds for the rest of the Health and Human Services complex and the Rivermont Fire Station projects. Thanks to Andre Fletcher, Carolyn Stimmel, Dan Whitten, and other staff members, as well as Davenport and Sands Anderson, all of whom were involved in that process. County staff is still waiting on a revised survey of the boundary line issued to Clark County. We'll hopefully be able to get a letter out to those individuals within the next 2 weeks to set up a community meeting out there at the Shendo Farms, or the Company 6 Fire Department building, to be able to brief folks on what the proposal concludes. Rivermont Fire Station County staff continues to work on getting the contract finalized for the project. We received FAA clearance for the project the week of April 22nd, and we're prepared to move forward with that project. Building permits, the county had a total of 49 new home starts for the first 4 months of 2019. Of that amount, 10 were located within the town of Front Royal and 39 outside town limits. The 49 is below the 63 new starts experienced in the first 4 months of 2018. And again, as a reminder, as the chairman stated, we've got a public hearing at 7 p.m. tonight on the tax rates for 2019. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Unless there are any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Stacy? Mr. Whitty?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I've passed on my collection report. In the month of April, our office collected $34,219 in delinquent personal property, people, and business equipment taxes. And so far this year, we've collected $190,863 in delinquent taxes and also $5,987 in attorney fees. And the attorney fees do go back into the general fund. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Whitty?
I do, if nobody else does. Mr. Whitman, what type of authority can our board have over the EDA?
I mean, you currently have the appointment power. You appoint all the EDA board members, and you can remove them with unanimous consent of the board of supervisors. And as it stated in the memo, some counties such as Shenandoah and Frederick County do have the EDA employees are actually employees of the county there, and they act as liaisons to the EDA.
My understanding is talking to Michael Chandler, who is the person who puts on the legislative leadership program for VDOT, that in some jurisdictions, board of supervisors is actually the EDA.
You have to have a separate IDA. An IDA is a separate political subdivision.
Correct.
It's a creation of the state statute. So for IDAs to act as bond conduit, like we did for like EDA did for Valley Health and for Rural Arms, they have to remain a separate political subdivision.
Right.
And you have a separate board.
Right. He was just explaining to me that this is wide open. It's done different ways in different jurisdictions in the Commonwealth. It can be separate even if the board of supervisors themselves are just on a different board. So it is possible that we could become the agent that would hire the executive director of the EDA.
So currently the executive director has a contract with the EDA board. And so basically if the EDA director wasn't only an employee of the county, either you'd be a contract employee of the board of supervisors, or he would just be, a department head underneath the county administrator. So you could do it either way.
And it wouldn't stop just there, I mean, interrupt you, but we could also have other employees, say the secretary of the EDA.
That's correct. The new EDA secretary did start yesterday, and so theoretically she could be a county employee. It's something we would have to talk to the EDA board about, and obviously the EDA board would have to change their bylaws, and certain things would have to, but it's something we could discuss in a work session.
Are there any other safeguards that you're working on?
No, I think the fiscal agent agreement will definitely be an appropriate safeguard that's on the agenda today. And if anything else I hear of or come across, I can definitely present it to the board of supervisors.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Is there anyone else, anything from Mr. Whitty? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there anything? I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll approve the minutes. Work session of April 2nd, 2019.
Move to approve.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Budget public hearing, April 9th, 2019.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Regular meeting of April 16th, 2019.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we can move to the consent agenda. Is there anything to be pulled for discussion?
I didn't want to have a big vote on this, but number 10, the resolution regarding the vacancy, constitutional office of chair.
And you want to pull that?
Pull, I didn't necessarily have to read it, read the whole thing, but we'd like to have some discussion.
Okay, is there anything else to be pulled? If not, I would entertain a motion on all items except number 10.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda except for item number 10, page 10.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Sarah, floor is yours.
I guess Mr. McKeithern has retired from his position as of May 1st, 2019. And I just had a question or two for Major Michael Arnold, if I could ask the question.
I've already been sworn in this year.
Okay, so you're already
So you call him.
Call you sheriff.
You want me to come up?
Yes, please.
Sure. We had a meeting with constitutional officers, and there was, has that police report been released yet of the break-in, alleged break-in over
I have no idea.
at the time you said that it hadn't been released. Is that correct?
Are you talking FOIA or?
The police report, has it been released by you?
No, not that I know of.
What's that?
I'm not sure what this has to do with
I was just
a swearing in of sheriff or a resolution, but I'd have to look at that. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
the,
Tom, not to interject, but this is really not the time to do this or the place to do it. If we're going to do this, then we should handle this as another agenda item. This is strictly the adoption of a resolution regarding the vacancy of constitutional office of sheriff, and we've had someone appointed to the sheriff's position, so that's what this is about. It's approving a resolution or a petition with county circuit court. If you have other discussions, you can feel to do that on your own, or we could do a work session. This is the wrong place to do this. Thank you.
Nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you.
I move,
Go ahead.
I move the board approve that the board of supervisors adopt the resolution approving the filing petition with the Warren County.
Second.
I move that the board of supervisors adopt the resolution approving the filing petition with the Warren County Circuit Court. Request that no special election be ordered for the office of sheriff.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, item I is a request to the Front Royal Warren County Economic Development Authority for Warren County to serve as the fiscal agent.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the
Morning.
board. As you know, the county receives correspondence from the Front Royal Warren County Economic Development Authority formally requesting that the county serve as its fiscal agent. This correspondence follows formal resolution requesting such services by the EDA Board of Directors at its meeting on March 22nd, 2019. This request was discussed during the Board of Supervisors work session on April 2nd and at the Town County Liaison meeting of April 18th. During the work session of April 2nd, EDA staff reported that the EDA Board of Directors believes this request is a step towards greater financial accountability and oversight. County staff also discussed the pros and cons of the request. Pros noted included the additional layer of checks and balances, the separation of duties between the Board of Directors and Board of Supervisors, which would require not only EDA board review, but also county Board of Supervisors review. Audit services being under the umbrella of the county as a separate component. Benefits for EDA employees being the same as county employees. And the existence of a model that's already in place for the provision of fiscal agent services, with the county currently serving as a fiscal agent for Skyline Regional Criminal Justice Academy, which that began July 1st of 2017. Cons noted also included the demand on county staff, the added responsibility for FOIA requests, because you become the custodian of the records, and the perception of the county EDA being too tangled. So a draft memorandum of understanding was prepared by staff and reviewed by Mr. Whitten. The MOU is for a period of 5 years with a 90-day termination notice clause at any time during a 5-year period, and proposes an annual compensation amount payable to the county for $7,500. The EDA will also be responsible for any additional costs for audit services, the annual auditing services under the umbrella of the county audit. As noted in the EDA MOU, too many initials here, the EDA is requesting that the county serve as fiscal agent for the purposes of administering payroll and benefits and processing the EDA's accounts payables and receivables. The EDA will employ 2 full-time employees. Such employees will be EDA employees, not county employees, and will follow EDA personnel policies and procedures. However, the EDA will follow Warren County payroll procedures and procurement policies, and will be included on the county's group health and dental insurance. EDA employees will also, at least initially, be included on the county's Virginia Retirement System or VRS plan. County staff, among the Finance Department, Treasurer's Office, Human Resources, we've all discussed the provision of the services, and we are supportive of the request, and we anticipate a manageable impact on normal daily operations. We have Mr. Andavino and Mr. Parsons, I believe, from the EDA here, as well as Jamie Spiker, our Chief Deputy Treasurer. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Any comments? I have one comment. I think this is an excellent step for control, fiscal control of the EDA. And it may be just the first step as time goes on, but I think this is an excellent step. Thank you.
I did have one quick question about the 5-year period. Does that mean in 5 years this will be on?
It could be renewed, it could be, if there's some other avenue that's pursued, it could be terminated prior to 5 years, but it's just an initial period of 5 years. It's the same that we did for Skyline.
Can this be terminated unilaterally?
It says 90 days without cause. It's a 90-day notice of termination, what's included.
So say if the EDA board wanted to do away with this, they could give us 90-day notice.
I defer to Mr. Whitman that, but
That's correct.
And then what happens after 5 years, Mr. Whitman?
Most likely, we would renew the agreement, and it'd be probably most likely another 5-year term. And it would most likely be the same language. I'm not sure. We'll have to look at the cost at that point to see if $7,500 a year still covers the county's costs. But other than that, the terms of the agreement would probably be the same 5 years from now.
I have a little bit of heartburn over giving the EDA board the authority to renege on this deal within 90 days. And also that they have the authority maybe not even enter into it again after 5 years. I think that's what the citizens are crying out. They want us for leadership. By God, we need to show some leadership.
oh, well, no, there are a few safeguards in place with the, just the simple fact with the EDA employees being on the county's health and dental insurance plan, being part of VRS. Those are, just like with our health insurance plan that the county currently holds, they're renewed for 1-year terms. So that would not be easy to extract an employee necessarily. You'd have to have other group health insurance in place. You'd have to have another retirement plan in place. I mean, that is something I think that would definitely need to be thought long and hard about. I can't obviously speak for the EDA Board of Directors, but I think that this would make being under county benefits an attractive prospect for EDA employees.
It's a good first baby step.
Anything else, anyone? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move the Board of Supervisors approve the request of Front Memorial Warren County Economic Development Authority to appoint Warren County as its fiscal agent and authorize the Board of Supervisors chairman to execute the proposed memorandum of understanding for fiscal agency services.
Second.
Do we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Carter?
Aye.
Ms. Levis?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman?
Aye.
Mr. Singer?
Aye.
Mr. Claus?
Aye.
This passes unanimously. Next is general public presentation comment period. Sounds, does anyone sign up? First call, does anyone care to speak? Second call, anyone care to speak? Third and final call. Presentation is over and we are adjourned to a work session. Thank you very much.